The latest figures show that more than 19,000 adults and almost 10,000 children reported being raped in the last year, and that's just in England and Wales. And of course, behind those truly appalling numbers are the individual people who've not only had to go through the trauma of the attacks, but the aftermath of reporting the crime and, of course, trying to come to terms with what's happened.
It never crossed my mind what was coming next. It just felt like when you're in a dream and you feel like you're trying to escape, but your body's not doing anything, you're not going anywhere. It felt like a really long time that he was kind of holding me down and threatening me and saying that he had a knife and that I needed to stop screaming.
Kaylee was 17 when she was raped. It was Boxing Day 2004 and she was on her way home.
He's local to Wednesbury in the West Midlands. He's aged 17, 18, maybe 19, something like that. And on Boxing Day...
We featured her case on Crime Watch at the time. Back then, Kaylee's identity had to be protected, but now she has decided to appear on camera and talk about what it's been like for her, knowing that her attacker has never been caught.
Just felt really ashamed. I just felt like it was somehow my fault for walking home alone, so I just didn't want people questioning me about it, so I just avoided bringing it up.
To help people like Kaylee talk about what's happened to them, many will come to centres like this one in Nottingham. Known as a SARC, or Sexual Assaults Referral Centre, it provides support for people who've been raped.
Coming here is a massive step for people. What we're here to do is to give that listening ear, someone to talk to, and someone to help them understand what they're going through.
As well as offering independent counselling and support, the team can also gather vital forensic evidence.
We do have up to 7 days window to gather forensics. That forensic evidence could be stored whilst they make a decision whether they want police involvement or not.
If the police do become involved, the centre also has video interview facilities to record victim statements in a less formal environment.
Before we get started, I'm just going to double check in with Laura that she can see your account cameras before we cut anything off.
Yep, Amy, the visual and the sound is fine.
The centres say that they provide an invaluable service to the victims who come through their doors.
It's really about making sure that people are feeling as secure and safe as possible, and it's away from a police environment and it's away from a clinical environment.
Working alongside the police are teams known as CSI, or Crime Scene Investigators.
One of the first calls we get from the rape team is to ourselves, one of the duty managers, to say that there is a rape, there's an allegation, and that they're going to try and identify a scene.
This is a crucial part of any police investigation, and the evidence these forensic specialists gather often supports rape convictions.
When we get the call to the scene of a sexual offence, there's a whole variety of different priorities that we've got to think about. We would always carry out general photography at the scene initially, just to record what's there and the locations that things are in it. We would also be looking for if there's anything that's been left behind, either by suspect or victim. If the scene's outside, then we will need to get there quite quickly and make sure that we're preserving what's there. If the scene's in a premises, then potentially we can lock that premises and wait for the interviews to occur.
Whether it's a murder, whether it's a rape or it is a burglary, processes are exactly the same. The assessment of the whole scene becomes so important, and can't rule anything in or out, because the day you do that is the day you make a mistake.
If you've got any ideas who did this? Perhaps someone you know in Wednesbury who came home covered in mud on Boxing Night? 0500 600.
Well, despite the Crime Watch appeal and police investigation, Kaylee's attacker has never been caught.
It was always like I was sitting on the edge of a chair waiting for that moment that they would say, OK, there's been a DNA match. And it's always held me back emotionally because it's always been in the back of my mind that this has happened and there's no way I can close the box and move on because it's always there.
Kaylee has recently been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. Her one wish now is that detectives find the man responsible.
Part of the PTSD is that I cannot get closure, and that's the reason why I've really struggled getting through the day-to-day and struggling with my relationships is because I simply cannot put it behind me because it's always there. And to get someone and to finally have it end and see an end to the whole thing would simply allow me to actually move on with my life and build a future that I can really look forward to.
Very courageous young woman. Well, 11 years is a long time for Kaylee to still be waiting for answers to who attacked her. She describes this man as being 17 to 20 years old at the time, so he'd now be in his late 20s, early 30s. He was wearing dark clothes and he spoke with a local accent. Full details, descriptions are on our website, and officers working on the case are here in the studio tonight, so please do get in touch using the numbers that are up on the screen. It's worth knowing that there is a new Crime Stoppers reward of £5,000. Or you could call them anonymously if you'd prefer. 0800 555 111 is the number to do that on. Also, if you yourself have been a victim of crime, you can always call the Victim Support Line. Their number, it's 0808 16 89 111. Right, so it's time to update you on some previous cases now, starting with an appeal that we featured in October after a 21-year-old woman suffered a terrifying rape in Toxteth in Liverpool. The victim was walking in the early hours of Sunday, the 19th of July, after a night out with friends when she was attacked. Well, I can tell you now that 2 weeks ago, detectives arrested and charged a 25-year-old man from Birmingham in connection with this attack. He's been remanded in custody. We will keep you updated with how the case progresses.
Now, in April, we showed you CCTV of this despicable thief caught on camera going into a hospital in central London where he stole a bag containing a laptop and a phone belonging to a patient who was actually